Evidence Log TR6205. Item submitted by anonymous courier to the registry intake office in a shoebox wrapped with black electrical tape. Courier description unavailable. Security footage shows the box appearing on the counter between frames. Inside were 41 photographs, one strip of negatives, a cracked magnifying loupe, and a note written on the back of a pharmacy receipt. The note said, "Do not restore the image. It is using clarity as a road." The first photograph appears ordinary, a family picnic in 1979, printed on glossy paper, slightly faded, edges curled. 3 adults sit on a plaid blanket. 2 children eat watermelon. Behind them is a tree line. In the tree line stands a figure too blurred to identify. The family is the Ward family of Larkspur County. According to public records, all 5 picnic attendees died within 9 months of the photograph. Car accident, stroke, house fire, allergic reaction, drowning. Separate incidents. No investigation linked them. The photograph was kept by a surviving cousin who reported that the blurry figure had not been present when the picture was taken. That claim would be easy to dismiss if not for the scans. Scan 1, made in 2004 for a genealogy website, shows the figure closer to the picnic blanket. Scan 2, made in 2011, shows it between 2 trees. Scan 3, made in 2019, shows a pale hand resting on the shoulder of the youngest child. The original print, examined at intake, still shows the figure deep in the tree line. The movement occurs only through reproduction. Each attempt to clarify, enlarge, digitize, copy, or describe the figure advances it into a newer layer of the image. The original remains bait. The copies become footsteps. Archivist Nima Rell began the log with standard visual anomaly language. By the 3rd entry, she had stopped using passive voice. Entry 1. The figure lacks stable boundaries. Approximate height, 6 feet, if perspective is reliable. Clothing resembles a dark suit, though enhancement suggests the suit may be composed of shadow from surrounding branches. Face absent or turned away. Entry 2. When zoomed to 400%, background grain organizes into repeating crescent shapes, similar to fingernails. The youngest child's shadow points toward the figure, rather than away from the sun. Entry 3. I dreamed of the picnic blanket last night. I could smell cut grass and warm fruit. Someone behind me said, "Hold still." When I woke, there was red juice on my pillow. I do not eat watermelon. The registry suspended digital enhancement and moved to analog containment. The photographs were placed in a lightless drawer. No cameras, no scanners, no reflective surfaces. The log was supposed to end there. It did not, because the shoebox contained more than one photograph. The second set showed the Ward family before the picnic. Birthdays, Christmas mornings, a school play, a blurred dog in a yard. In each image, once examined, the same figure could be found in the background. Sometimes outside a window, sometimes in a mirror, sometimes only as a dark, vertical smear between people who should have been standing shoulder to shoulder. The figure was not approaching one photograph. It was approaching the family through every recorded memory of them. Evidence Item B is a Polaroid of the ward kitchen, dated March 1978. On the table is a birthday cake with 7 candles. In the oven door reflection, the figure stands behind the photographer. The oven reflection should show the opposite wall. Instead, it shows trees. Evidence item C is a school portrait of Mara Ward, age 9. The background is blue. No objects, no windows. Under ultraviolet light, a second exposure appears beneath the blue, the tree line from the picnic, and the figure half a step closer. Nima proposed that the entity inhabited not images, but acts of looking. A photograph fixed attention. Attention created a path. Restoration widened it. Nostalgia invited it inside. The log becomes personal after entry 12. Entry 12. I found the figure in my own staff badge photo. It is visible in the glass door behind me. I took that photo 3 years before intake. I have never been to Larkspur County. Entry 13. The figure's hand is clearer now. It has too many knuckles. Or the knuckles are small faces. I cannot tell without magnification. I will not magnify. Entry 14. My mother texted me a chip. She said, "Look how little you were." I did not ask for it. In the background, beside the refrigerator, there is a dark line. I deleted the image. It is still visible when I close my eyes. Containment escalated. Nemo was removed from visual duties. The shoebox was sealed in matte black polymer and placed in a vault with no optical monitoring. Personnel were ordered not to remember the photographs in detail. This order was impossible to enforce and therefore mostly ceremonial. 3 days later, the vault inventory printed a new item code, TR 6205-40-2. No one had added an item. Inside the vault, beside the sealed shoebox, was a fresh photograph. It showed the registry intake office, the counter, the coffee machine, the empty chair where Nima usually sat. In the doorway at the back of the room, the figure stood facing the camera. Its face was still blurred, but only because it was moving. Nima was not in the building when the photograph appeared. She was at home, under instruction to avoid screens, mirrors, windows at night, polished appliances, framed art, and memory-heavy family conversations. Her apartment had been stripped of photographs. She kept the lights low and wrote on paper. At 2:26 a.m., her landline rang. She did not own a landline. The call recording is attached to the evidence log. A voice like film peeling from wet glass says, "You made me beautiful enough to travel." Nima asks what it wants. The voice says, "To be in the first picture." Every family has a first picture. Sometimes it is a hospital photo. Sometimes a wedding. Sometimes a grainy image of strangers standing in front of a house before anyone knows they will become ancestors. The entity moved backward through images, not time, seeking the first preserved act of recognition. Once it reached that root image, every descendant of the pictured line became a copy. The Ward family had no descendants left. That is why the shoebox came to the registry. We had looked, we had scanned, we had given it a new family of witnesses. Nima attempted counter-containment. She created a photograph with no subject, a blank wall, overexposed, printed in a gawk room under LED light. On the back, she wrote, "This is the last picture." She placed it inside the shoebox without looking at the Ward images. For 12 hours, the anomaly stopped advancing. Then, the blank wall photograph developed a shadow. Not on the wall. Behind it. The final entry in Nima's log is handwritten and uneven. It says, "The photograph behind the photograph is not a place. It is what waits before anyone says, 'Remember.'" It hates being unseen, but it hates being seen incorrectly more. Do not sharpen. Do not archive thumbnails. Do not describe its face. Description is a kind of invitation. Nima disappeared from her apartment that night. There were no signs of forced entry. On her desk was a new photograph. It showed a family picnic in 1979. 3 adults, 2 children, a plaid blanket. At the edge of the blanket, seated with the family as if she had always belonged there, was Nima Rel. Behind her, the tree line was empty. The current containment protocol is absence. The shoebox remains sealed. No images of the images are permitted. This narration has been cleared only because spoken description does not appear to advance the entity unless accompanied by mental visualization. If you are picturing the figure now, stop. Think instead of a closed drawer. Think of paper faced down. Think of a room without windows where nobody remembers what was stored. Final note. Last week, the registry's automated backup generated a corrupted thumbnail for this case file. The thumbnail displays no photograph, only a gray square. In the lower right corner, at the edge of the compression noise, a hand is visible. It is not reaching out. It is waving someone in.